Most men think sexual health is all about one thing, but the truth is, if your energy is down, your stress is high, your hormones are out of balance, or your circulation isn't working the way it should, performance is the first place it shows up. And that can be frustrating, confusing, and even a little worrying. So today, I want to walk you through the real root causes behind men's sexual health struggles, and more importantly, the simple natural steps you can start using today to turn everything around. When we talk about male performance, we're really talking about the entire system of energy production and hormone signaling in the body. It's not a single organ doing the work. It's your liver, your adrenals, your cardiovascular system, your nervous system, your diet, your sleep, all interacting. If one of these areas drops, you'll feel it. And most men don't realize how much lifestyle, inflammation, and stress quietly chip away at confidence, stamina, and overall function long before any major symptom shows up. One of the most overlooked aspects is insulin. High insulin from too many carbs, too much snacking, too much sugar, it drives down male hormones and increases belly fat. And belly fat is not just a storage site, it's hormonally active. It actually converts your male hormones into weaker forms, creating a slow decline in motivation, drive, and physical performance. When your insulin comes down, the body naturally shifts into balance again. You start producing growth hormone at night, your liver detoxifies better, your testosterone becomes more available, your blood flow improves, the entire system wakes back up. Then there's stress. A lot of men blame age when the real issue is cortisol. Cortisol is the hormone your body creates under chronic stress, and it competes with your male hormones for resources. When cortisol is high, your body says we're in survival mode, and survival mode shuts down anything that's not essential. Blood flow drops, energy drops, mental clarity drops, sleep quality drops, and without deep sleep, your hormones can't recover. So you wake up tired, unmotivated, and wondering why your performance is down, even though the answer is hiding in your stress levels. Another big part of the picture is liver health. The liver is where your hormones are activated, cleaned up, and recycled. If it's congested from seed oils, alcohol, too many processed foods, or chronic inflammation, it can't maintain healthy levels of male hormones. Many men don't have a performance problem, they have a liver problem. When you support the liver with nutrient-dense foods, intermittent fasting, vegetables high in sulfur, and minerals like zinc and selenium, you start noticing more energy, better recovery, and a stronger sense of wellness overall. Circulation is another foundational piece. You need healthy arteries to perform well, but years of elevated insulin, processed oils, and oxidative stress can stiffen and narrow the arteries long before symptoms show up. When you improve nitric oxide, reduce inflammation, and lower insulin, the arteries naturally become more flexible again. Your blood pressure lowers, your endurance increases, you feel stronger, you feel younger, and performance improves because circulation improves. Most men also don't realize how important micronutrients are. Zinc, magnesium, vitamin D, B vitamins, omega-3s. These aren't optional. Your body uses them to create hormones, support nerves, stabilize blood sugar, and maintain muscle function. When you're deficient, everything slows down. Your mood, energy, motivation, sleep, and performance all become weaker versions of what they should be. Replenishing these nutrients through whole foods, not junk, not powders full of chemicals, gives your body the raw materials it needs to rebuild. Then we have exercise. You don't need long, exhausting workouts. In fact, too much cardio can raise cortisol and work against you. Short, intense training sessions and strength-based movements help increase growth hormone, support testosterone, and improve circulation. Even simple walking after meals lowers insulin and supports hormone balance. Over time, this reduces abdominal fat, strengthens vascular health, and boosts energy. Your body becomes more responsive, more resilient, and more stable. Sleep is one of the most powerful performance enhancers. Deep sleep is where your hormones regenerate. When you go to bed late, eat heavy meals at night, or live in a state of chronic stress, you lose the deep sleep cycles that stimulate natural recovery. Most men don't need a supplement, they need to fix their sleep routine. When you sleep deeply, your hormones rise naturally, your stress drops, your mood improves, and your performance follows automatically. And here's the part many men overlook: your mind. Not in the emotional sense, but in the neurological sense. Your thoughts trigger chemical reactions. Fear, worry, insecurity. They create stress chemicals. Calm, confidence, safety. They create healthy ones. When your nervous system feels overloaded, your performance drops instantly. When it feels safe and stable, everything works better. Simple things like controlled breathing, sunlight exposure, slowing down your screen time at night, they help reset the nervous system and bring back balance. So the ultimate key is addressing the whole system, not just one part. Bring down insulin, support the liver, lower stress, improve sleep, strengthen circulation, rebuild nutrient levels. Focus on recovery instead of pushing harder. When you treat your body like a system, everything rises together. Your energy rises, your mental clarity rises, your drive rises, your confidence rises, and performance becomes the natural outcome of a healthy, fully supported body. When men think about their sexual health or performance, they often look for solutions in the wrong places. They focus on quick fixes, temporary boosts, or isolated supplements, when the real root of the problem is far deeper and far more connected to the body's entire metabolic system. What many men never realize is that sexual health is a direct mirror of metabolic health. especially insulin control, liver function, circulation, and micronutrient status. When these systems are stressed, clogged, or overloaded, performance drops long before any obvious signs appear. And when you bring these systems back into balance, the body starts working again in a completely natural, effortless way. There is no forcing, no pushing, no tricks, just restoring the body's internal mechanics to do what they were designed to do. The first pillar in this system is insulin. Insulin is at the root of more men's issues than almost anything else, yet it is rarely discussed in the context of male performance. Insulin controls how the body handles sugar. Every time you eat carbs or snack, insulin rises. When insulin is constantly elevated, the cells become resistant. This resistance blocks energy, increases inflammation, and pushes the body into fat storing mode. Now here's the part most men never connect. High insulin directly lowers male hormones. It doesn't just reduce levels, it blocks the body from using the hormones it already has. And the more abdominal fat a man carries, the more that fat converts his hormones into weaker, less effective forms. This creates a slow, steady decline in energy, motivation, drive, and performance. You don't feel it all at once, you feel it over years. Men often blame age when the real issue is insulin. Lowering insulin is one of the fastest ways to support male health because insulin influences nearly every single system involved in performance. When insulin drops, inflammation goes down. When inflammation goes down, blood vessels become more flexible. When blood vessels are flexible, circulation improves. When circulation improves, the entire cardiovascular system becomes more responsive and more resilient. And when insulin normalizes, your liver, adrenal glands, and hormone pathways finally get a break from constant stress. This is why men who lower insulin through intermittent fasting, low-carb eating, or removing sugars often describe feeling alive again. Without doing anything specific for performance, they're not getting a boost, they're getting their natural state back. But insulin is only one part of the picture. The liver is just as important, and it's often the silent culprit behind declining male health. The liver is responsible for activating, processing, and clearing hormones. It also handles blood sugar, fats, and detoxification. When the liver is overloaded with seed oils, alcohol, processed foods, or chronic inflammation, it becomes sluggish. A sluggish liver cannot maintain proper hormone balance. It cannot handle insulin efficiently, it cannot process fats correctly, and when the liver slows down, everything downstream slows with it. Men start storing more abdominal fat, their energy drops, their sleep becomes lighter, recovery becomes slower. But the deeper issue is that their hormones are no longer being activated or cleared correctly, so even if levels appear normal, the body can't use them effectively. One of the biggest improvements men notice when they support the liver through intermittent fasting, leafy greens, cruciferous vegetables, and nutrient-rich foods is a sense of mental clarity returning. The liver is deeply connected to the brain, energy levels, and overall hormonal rhythm. When it's clean and functioning well, the body naturally increases growth hormone at night, detoxifies more efficiently, and restores hormonal balance without needing force. And because the liver plays a direct role in cholesterol production, which is the raw material for male hormones, a healthy liver produces better quality hormones and regulates them more smoothly. Cholesterol is not the enemy, it's the foundation of male health, and the liver is the architect. The next major component is circulation. Men rarely think about blood flow until there is a noticeable problem, but circulation is affected long before symptoms arise. High insulin stiffens arteries. Processed oils create oxidative stress. Inflammation narrows blood vessels. Stress constricts smooth muscle. And years of these small, silent changes reduce the elasticity and responsiveness of the entire vascular system. But the good news is that circulation can be improved naturally when you lower inflammation and insulin. Nitric oxide goes up, arteries relax, blood pressure stabilizes, the heart works more efficiently. This is why many men notice improvements in stamina, endurance, and overall physical performance when they start eating clean, lowering carbs, walking after meals, and adding strength-based training. They aren't just getting fitter, they're restoring vascular health, which directly supports performance. Minerals and nutrients also play a massive role. When nutrient levels drop, everything declines: mood, energy, hormones, and circulation. Zinc is essential for hormone production and immune function. Magnesium supports nerves, muscles, sleep, and blood sugar. Vitamin D regulates hundreds of pathways related to male health. B vitamins support energy, liver function, and stress resilience. Omega-3s reduce inflammation, support the heart, keep blood vessels flexible. When these nutrients are low, the body simply cannot function at its best. And many modern diets are chronically deficient in exactly these minerals. It's not that men have a motivation problem or an age problem. Many times they have a deficiency problem. The powerful part is that nutrient deficiencies respond quickly when you start feeding the body the right things. Wild fish, grass-fed meats, eggs, nuts, seeds, leafy greens, avocados, fermented foods, and sea vegetables give the body the raw materials it needs to rebuild. Men often feel improvements in energy, mental clarity, stamina, and performance within weeks when their nutrient levels rise. This isn't a placebo effect. This is biochemistry. Your hormones are built out of nutrients. Your blood vessels require nutrients. Your nerves require nutrients. Your muscles require nutrients. Without them, everything slows down. With them, everything strengthens and balances naturally. The metabolic system is not isolated pieces. It's a chain reaction. When insulin rises, inflammation rises. When inflammation rises, blood vessels stiffen. When vessels stiffen, circulation weakens. When circulation weakens, performance drops. When performance drops, stress rises. When stress rises, cortisol blocks male hormones. When hormones drop, energy declines. And when energy declines, men mistake the symptoms for aging. But this entire chain can move in the opposite direction when you support the body correctly. Lower insulin, clean the liver, strengthen circulation, and restore nutrient levels. The entire system shifts back toward balance. Many men try isolated approaches. They try supplements without changing diet. They try exercise without lowering stress. They try temporary boosters without strengthening the liver. They try routines without addressing inflammation. And they wonder why results don't last. The body doesn't work that way. You cannot isolate one organ or one supplement and expect long-term improvements. The metabolic system is integrated. Hormones, insulin, circulation, liver health, nervous system regulation, they all influence each other. When you improve one area while neglecting another, your progress is limited. But when you support the system as a whole, even small changes compound rapidly. One of the most surprising things men notice when they bring insulin down is a significant increase in natural energy. They wake up feeling more refreshed. They think more clearly, their motivation rises, their stress tolerance improves, they feel more present, and because the brain becomes more responsive, communication pathways between the brain and body strengthen. Performance is not just physical, it is neurological. The brain must send clear signals. The body must respond efficiently. Insulin resistance interferes with these signals. Lowering insulin restores them. Men often underestimate how much their lifestyle silently drains their vitality. Late night eating spikes insulin at the worst possible time. Constant snacking prevents fat burning and stresses the liver. Sugary drinks keep insulin elevated all day. Processed seed oils inflame blood vessels. Lack of sleep raises cortisol. Sitting for long periods weakens circulation. Each one may seem small, but together they drain the system year after year. The good news is that small positive habits have the opposite effect. Simple changes like fasting 16 hours, walking after meals, replacing seed oils with olive or coconut oil, adding leafy greens, and drinking more water can shift insulin, liver function, and circulation faster than most men expect. The human body was designed for balance, designed to heal, restore, and regenerate, but it needs the right environment. When men give their body the conditions it needs, low insulin, clean fuel, strong nutrients, good sleep, manageable stress, and consistent movement, the body responds by rebuilding. It strengthens circulation, it restores hormone balance, it clears inflammation, it activates deep recovery at night, it stabilizes mood and energy, and performance becomes the natural outcome of a strong, balanced metabolic system. This is why men who address their metabolic health often feel changes that go far beyond performance. Their confidence rises. Their mood stabilizes, their mental sharpness returns, their body composition improves, their sleep deepens, their stress tolerance increases, they feel younger, stronger, clearer, and more grounded. And all of this happens because they address the root cause rather than chasing symptoms. Most men don't realize how deeply stress and poor sleep affect their hormonal system, their energy, and their overall performance. They often think the issue is physical or that something is wrong with their body, when in reality the body is responding exactly the way it's designed to respond under stress. When the stress hormone cortisol stays high for too long, the body enters a protective state. It redirects blood flow, it alters hormone production, it changes how the brain processes signals, and it shifts the body into a kind of survival mode. And the problem is, most men today live in chronic, unrelenting stress without ever noticing it. They wake up rushed, they go through the day tense, they fuel themselves with caffeine and quick carbs, and they go to bed with a mind that won't slow down. This constant pressure drains energy from the areas of the body that support vitality, mood, and overall performance. Cortisol is not a bad hormone. In fact, you need it. You need it to wake up, to think clearly, to respond quickly, and to function through daily challenges. The issue is not cortisol itself, it's the amount and the timing. Cortisol is supposed to be high in the morning and gradually fall throughout the day. But in many men, cortisol stays high all day and spikes again at night. When cortisol stays high, it competes with your male hormones for raw materials, resources, and energy. The body only has so much capacity to produce hormones, and if it thinks you're in danger or under threat, it will always prioritize stress hormones over everything else. That means energy drops, motivation drops, drive drops, and overall performance becomes inconsistent or weak because the body is in a constant defensive state. Stress also triggers physical changes that make the situation worse. It constricts blood vessels, it increases inflammation, it interferes with insulin, it prevents deep recovery at night, it tightens the neck and shoulders, affecting nerve signals. It shortens your breathing pattern. Over time, these changes weaken circulation, drain energy, and reduce the body's ability to operate in a calm, responsive state. Most men assume they need a supplement or a boost when what they really need is to lower cortisol and rebuild their nervous system. And when they do, the difference is dramatic. Sleep is the other major pillar in this equation. Sleep is not passive. It is the most active repair process your body has. Deep sleep regenerates male hormones, restores nerves, resets the brain, cleans out toxins, and stabilizes blood sugar. If a man is not getting deep sleep, his hormones cannot recover properly, no matter what supplements or foods he tries. Deep sleep also controls insulin sensitivity, appetite, mood, and physical stamina. When sleep is shallow or inconsistent, cortisol rises the following day, insulin spikes quicker, cravings increase, and the body becomes more reactive to stress. The entire system becomes fragile. One of the biggest misconceptions men have is that sleep loss is just being tired. In reality, sleep loss is a hormonal disruption. When men skip deep sleep, their testosterone drops the next day, their growth hormone drops, their ability to handle stress weakens, their circulation becomes less responsive, their energy becomes more unstable. When you add chronic stress on top of poor sleep, the combination creates a cycle that affects everything. High cortisol leads to poor sleep, and poor sleep leads to even higher cortisol. This is why many men feel stuck. They wake up tired, they push through the day with stimulants, the stress builds, they can't relax at night, and the cycle repeats. Stress also affects the autonomic nervous system, the system that controls blow, breathing, muscle tension, heart rate, and even digestion. When the sympathetic nervous system, also known as the fight or flight system, becomes dominant, the body stays tense and alert. This state is useful in short bursts, like when you need to focus or respond quickly. But when it becomes chronic, it shuts down the parts of the body responsible for rest, recovery, and performance. The parasympathetic system, which we call rest and digest, is what allows the body to repair, regenerate, and stabilize. Most men today spend very little time in this parasympathetic state. Their brains are overloaded with screens, noise, notifications, deadlines, and constant stimulation. Their body thinks they are under threat even when they're sitting at home. Lowering stress and restoring the parasympathetic system is one of the most effective ways to rebuild natural male vitality. Simple practices like deep breathing, walking outdoors, sitting in sunlight, avoiding heavy meals late at night, limiting screen time before bed, and establishing a relaxing evening routine can shift the nervous system dramatically. The body responds quickly when it senses safety. Blood flow increases. Muscle tension lowers, hormone production stabilizes, sleep deepens, recovery improves, even the brain becomes more focused and calm. Another overlooked factor is inflammation. Stress increases inflammatory chemicals. Inflammation affects blood vessels, nerves, brain function, and hormone signaling. When inflammation rises, circulation becomes sluggish, and the body becomes more reactive. One of the fastest ways to lower inflammation is to reduce sugar, processed foods, and alcohol while increasing nutrient-dense foods like greens, berries, nuts, seeds, clean proteins, and healthy fats. When the body has the nutrients it needs and isn't overloaded by inflammatory foods, stress is easier to handle because the baseline inflammation is lower. Cortisol also impacts insulin. When cortisol is high, the body becomes more resistant to insulin. This means blood sugar goes up more easily, belly fat becomes harder to lose, and energy crashes become more frequent. And when insulin rises, it lowers male hormones. This creates a double impact on performance. Cortisol lowers hormones by competing for resources, and insulin lowers hormones by disrupting metabolism. This is why stress reduction is not just mental or emotional. It is biochemical. When you lower stress, you lower insulin. When you lower insulin, the entire hormonal system becomes more balanced and responsive. Many men ignore early signs of stress overload because they seem normal. Waking up tired, needing caffeine, feeling pressure in the chest, having trouble winding down at night, losing patience, or having a constantly busy mind. These are signs that cortisol is dominating. Over time, this becomes the new normal, and the body adapts by shifting energy away from long-term health and towards short-term survival. But this adaptation comes at a cost. Vitality goes down, motivation becomes erratic, circulation weakens, sleep becomes shallow, and the hormonal system operates at a fraction of its potential. Restoring proper sleep cycles is one of the most powerful ways to reverse this. Deep sleep is triggered by low insulin, low cortisol, and a calm nervous system. Men who eat heavy meals late at night or consume sugary snacks in the evening often struggle with sleep because insulin stays too high. Men who stay on screens at night get overstimulated by blue light, which suppresses melatonin and increases cortisol. Men who think excessively at night activate the brain areas responsible for planning and stress, keeping the body in a wakeful state. This creates a situation where the body tries to shut down, but the mind keeps it awake. Creating a simple routine before bed can change this quickly. Turning off screens an hour before sleep, dimming the lights, taking a walk, reading, stretching lightly, or practicing deep breathing can help the body shift into parasympathetic mode. Even something as simple as lying on the floor with your legs elevated can calm the nervous system. The brain interprets this position as safe and grounded, lowering cortisol naturally. When men make these changes, they often report waking up with more energy than they've felt in years. They don't realize how much their body needed deep recovery because they haven't experienced it in a long time. Stress also affects the digestive system. When cortisol is high, digestion slows. When digestion slows, nutrient absorption decreases. And when nutrient absorption decreases, the body becomes deficient in the minerals and vitamins needed for hormone production, circulation, and energy. This is why chronic stress leads to fatigue, muscle tightness, poor mood, and reduced physical performance. The body cannot produce optimal hormones if it doesn't have the nutrients to do so, and the body cannot absorb nutrients well if the digestive system is compromised by stress. One of the most effective ways to support the digestive system under stress is to simplify meals, eat nutrient-dense foods, and avoid eating when emotionally overwhelmed overwhelmed. Eating under stress triggers incomplete digestion, which leads to bloating, discomfort, and nutrient loss. When the body is calm during meals, it digests more efficiently, absorbs more nutrients, and supports the hormonal system more effectively. Walking is one of the simplest but most powerful tools men can use to lower stress. Walking lowers cortisol, improves circulation, increases oxygen flow, calms the nervous system, and stabilizes blood sugar. It is one of the fastest ways to shift the body out of stress mode. And because walking after meals lowers insulin, it helps stabilize hormone balance naturally. Many men underestimate walking because it seems too simple, but physiologically it has profound effects. The brain interprets walking as a sign that you are safe and moving away from stress, so cortisol decreases automatically. Sunlight is another powerful tool. Sunlight on the skin and eyes in the morning resets the circadian rhythm. It tells the brain when to release cortisol and when to release melatonin. When you get sunlight early in the day, your body becomes synchronized. Cortisol rises in the morning as it should, and it drops at night when you need to sleep. This natural rhythm is essential for restoring energy, lowering stress, and improving overall vitality. Men who start their day with sunlight and movement often experience improved sleep and reduced stress within days. Most men underestimate the impact of mental load. Thinking, worrying, planning, analyzing, and overprocessing information can overstimulate the brain and elevate cortisol. The brain is not designed to process nonstop information. Even small breaks throughout the day, a minute of deep breathing, a pause to stretch, a step outside for fresh air, reset the nervous system and prevent cortisol from building up. These micro resets keep the body from tipping into chronic stress. One of the most important things to understand is that chronic stress is not just an emotional issue, it is a physical state. And when men learn how to regulate their stress, they often experience improvements in energy, focus, motivation, mood, and overall performance that they didn't think were possible. They're not gaining something new, they're removing the blocks that were suppressing their natural state. Men often think sexual health and performance are isolated issues, something that only affects one part of the body. But the truth is far different. True performance, vitality, and long-term health are the result of a fully integrated system where multiple parts of the body work together. When any part of the system is neglected, the effects show up first in energy, mood, motivation, and performance. The system is interconnected. The liver, hormones, nervous system, circulation, nutrition, and movement all interact. If you want to create long-term, sustainable results, you have to address the whole system, not just one piece. Many men focus only on supplements or quick fixes, but these solutions rarely work because they don't address the root causes. A whole body approach is what rebuilds strength, confidence, and performance naturally. One of the most important parts of this approach is nutrition. Nutrient-dense foods are the building blocks your body needs to function optimally. Think of them as the raw materials for energy, hormone production, circulation, and recovery. When you feed the body poor quality foods, refined carbs, sugar, processed oils, and low-nutrient snacks, you're literally depriving it of what it needs to produce vitality. On the other hand, nutrient-rich foods like leafy greens, cruciferous vegetables, wild-caught fish, eggs, nuts, seeds, and high-quality meats provide minerals, antioxidants, and healthy fats that support every system involved in performance. Zinc and magnesium are essential for hormone production and muscle function. Vitamin D regulates hundreds of biochemical processes related to male health. B vitamins are critical for energy, liver function, and nervous system regulation. Omega-3 fatty acids reduce inflammation, support blood vessels, and enhance circulation. Without these nutrients, the body is simply operating at a lower level. When men start eating whole, nutrient-dense foods, they often notice increased energy, improved clarity, and better overall vitality within weeks because the body finally has what it needs to rebuild. Supporting liver function is another cornerstone of a whole body approach. The liver is responsible for activating hormones, detoxifying chemicals, processing fats, and regulating blood sugar. When the liver is sluggish from processed foods, alcohol, or chronic inflammation, the hormonal system is directly affected. Male hormones like testosterone are not just produced, they are activated, cleared, and recycled by the liver. If the liver is not functioning optimally, hormones may appear normal on a blood test, but the body cannot use them effectively. Supporting the liver with vegetables high in sulfur, cruciferous vegetables like broccoli and cauliflower, intermittent fasting, and minerals like selenium and zinc can make a huge difference. Men often report feeling stronger, more energetic, and more mentally clear when they focus on liver health because the body's hormone pathways begin to work efficiently again. Circulation is equally important, and many men don't realize how critical it is for overall performance. Blood flow is the delivery system for oxygen, nutrients, and hormones to every tissue in the body. High insulin, inflammation, processed oils, and oxidative stress can stiffen arteries over time. When arteries are stiff, circulation is less efficient, energy is reduced, and physical performance suffers. Supporting vascular health through diet, movement, and nutrients like L-arginine and beetroot naturally improves blood flow. When circulation improves, oxygen delivery increases, hormones reach target tissues more effectively, and stamina rises. This is why men who integrate movement like walking, strength training, or high-intensity interval exercises notice improvements not just in appearance but in overall responsiveness and vitality. Their bodies feel alive again because blood is flowing efficiently to every system that supports performance. Movement itself is a critical component of the whole body approach, but it's not about endless cardio or exhausting workouts. Short, consistent, strength-based movements and mobility exercises help stimulate growth hormone, improve circulation, strengthen muscles, and support joint integrity. Even simple exercises like bodyweight squats, push-ups, or resistance band movements can make a big difference. These movements improve insulin sensitivity, lower stress, and enhance vascular function. Many men underestimate how much simple movement supports hormone production, energy, and stamina. Over time, this consistent stimulus strengthens the body's structural and hormonal foundations, making the other aspects of male health more effective. Stress management is another pillar of the system. Chronic stress elevates cortisol, which competes with male hormones for resources, reduces energy, and interferes with recovery. Stress also stiffens arteries, disrupts circulation, and reduces sleep quality. Men often overlook the silent effects of stress because they focus only on physical symptoms, but mental and emotional stress directly impacts biochemistry. Simple techniques such as controlled breathing, meditation, grounding exercises, exposure to sunlight, and short breaks during the day can dramatically reduce cortisol levels. Lowering stress allows the body to allocate resources toward hormone production, circulation, recovery, and energy rather than constantly defending itself. When combined with proper nutrition, liver support, and movement, stress reduction creates a multiplier effect. Everything else works better. Sleep is also an essential factor in the whole body system. Deep sleep is when the body regenerates hormones, detoxifies, repairs tissues, and stabilizes blood sugar. Poor sleep leads to high cortisol, insulin resistance, lower testosterone, and reduced recovery. Men often try to compensate for poor sleep with stimulants, which only prolongs the imbalance. Establishing a consistent sleep routine, minimizing late-night screen exposure, avoiding heavy meals at night, and supporting deep sleep naturally allows hormones to regenerate, energy to rise, and mental clarity to improve. Sleep is the ultimate recovery tool because it allows all other systems, circulation, hormones, nutrient metabolism, nervous system function to reset and synchronize. Micronutrients play a huge role in performance and overall male health. Deficiencies in zinc, magnesium, selenium, vitamin D, and B vitamins directly affect testosterone production, energy, muscle function, and nerve signaling. Omega-3 fatty acids support anti-inflammatory pathways, blood vessel health, and hormonal signaling. When men correct these deficiencies through diet or targeted supplementation, the body has the raw materials needed for optimal function. Many men report rapid improvements in energy, mood, mental clarity, and stamina once nutrient deficiencies are corrected. It is remarkable how quickly the body responds when it finally receives what it has been missing. Another aspect of the whole body approach is understanding the role of insulin. Maintaining stable insulin levels is foundational to the system. High insulin drives inflammation, lowers male hormones, increases abdominal fat, and stiffens arteries. By reducing sugar, refined carbs, late-night eating, and frequent snacking, men improve insulin sensitivity. Walking after meals, fasting intermittently, and consuming nutrient-dense, low-glycemic foods all help regulate insulin. Stable insulin supports hormone balance, energy circulation, and nutrient utilization, reinforcing every other system involved in performance. This is why many men see profound improvements simply by stabilizing blood sugar and reducing hidden insulin spikes. Combining these approaches, nutrition, liver support, circulation, movement, stress reduction, sleep, micronutrients, and insulin control creates a synergistic effect. The body functions more efficiently when all systems are supported. Hormones rise naturally, energy improves, mental clarity increases, circulation strengthens, and performance becomes effortless. It is not about forcing results, it is about providing the body with the right conditions so it can restore itself. The improvements are sustainable because they are rooted in the body's natural mechanisms rather than temporary stimulants or artificial boosters. Men who take a whole body approach often notice results beyond performance. Confidence increases because energy and motivation rise. Body composition improves because fat is reduced and muscle function strengthens. Mood stabilizes because hormone balance supports neurotransmitter function. Recovery improves because sleep and nutrient support optimize regeneration. Mental clarity improves because stress is reduced and circulation increases. In short, the entire system of male health strengthens, making every area, physical, mental, and emotional, function better. This integrated approach ensures long-term results rather than temporary gains that fade quickly. One of the key advantages of this approach is that it is natural and sustainable. Unlike quick fixes, stimulants, or hormone replacement therapies that can create dependency or side effects, a whole body strategy supports the body's own mechanisms. When the liver, circulation, hormones, and nutrients are optimized, the body produces the resources it needs to sustain performance naturally. Men can continue building on these results over months and years without risking imbalances or side effects because the foundation is stable. Small, consistent actions compound over time, reinforcing all systems and creating long-lasting vitality. Another important factor is that a whole body approach is flexible. It can be adjusted to individual needs, lifestyle, and age. Younger men can focus on building strength, improving circulation, and stabilizing insulin. Older men may prioritize liver support, stress reduction, and nutrient replenishment. The principles remain the same: Support each system, remove stressors, provide nutrients, and allow the body to function efficiently. Flexibility ensures that results are achievable at any stage of life because the approach is rooted in biology, not arbitrary rules or gimmicks. Perhaps the most overlooked benefit of a whole body approach is resilience. Men who address all areas, nutrition, liver, circulation, movement, stress, sleep, and nutrients, develop a body that can respond to challenges without breaking down. Energy remains stable, hormones remain balanced, recovery is faster, and mental clarity persists even under pressure. This resilience is what differentiates men who perform consistently from those who fluctuate depending on circumstances, stimulants, or quick fixes. Supporting the body as a system creates stability, which is the foundation of long-term health and performance. Ultimately, a whole body approach aligns with how the body was designed to function. Each system interacts with and supports the others. When you strengthen one area, the others respond positively. When you neglect one, it drags the others down. This interconnectedness is the reason why a comprehensive strategy is so effective. Men who embrace this approach are not chasing temporary results, they are restoring their natural state, which supports performance, confidence, energy, and longevity. The body responds intuitively when given the conditions it needs. Performance becomes a byproduct of a fully optimized system rather than a forced outcome. It is effortless, sustainable, and rooted in the biology of health and vitality.